Hello and welcome back to Supposedly Fun. My name is Greg and I am here to do a Friday Reads video where I wrap up the week in reading and any bookish things that have been going on. This will probably be a quick Friday Reads, although every time I say it's going to be a quick Friday Reads, it is not a quick Friday Reads, or it ends up being just as long as any other Friday Reads video that I do. So I'm going to shut up and say that not much has been going on in the bookish world. Right now, January is kind of a quiet time, looking forward to a lot of other things that are going to be coming up as the year really starts kicking into gear. I've really been enjoying watching everybody's best and worst of 2021 videos. I've really been enjoying a lot of most anticipated for 2022 videos that have been going up. I obviously did my own on those. And I also talked about my reading intentions for 2022 this year. I'm really glad I got that all sorted out. I will put a link to that video and a couple of others in the description box down below if you would like to check all of those out. I have, I think, maybe one or two more videos that would be like wrap up on 2021, kickoff for 2022, and then we get to just get into the regular bookish year. So looking forward to that. One note I do want to say, in my reading intentions video, I talked about my plans for the Montana Book Company's reading challenge for 2022. And there is a prompt that instructs you to read a book by an author you read for last year's challenge. And in my video, I wondered what somebody who didn't do the challenge last year would have to do for that one. So I checked in with Charlie from the Montana Book Company, and they said that anybody who didn't do the challenge last year should just read a book by an author that they read last year. So perfect. I don't know if this is the last time you're going to be seeing the Christmas tree. We had plans to take it down this weekend, but we might not. It makes us happy. So it's still there. We'll see how long it lasts. Let's get into the actual Friday Reads portion of the video because there's a lot to talk about there. I did finish one book. I have one book still ongoing, and I started another book. And I'm really excited to talk about all of those. So let's jump to the Friday Reads portion of this video. The book that I finished is Matrix by Groff. I really put a push on this one because I mentioned in my last Friday Reads video that I had gotten access to a bunch of books on NetGalley. One of them is Young Mungo by Douglas Stuart. And spoiler alert, that is the book that I am currently reading. So I wanted to finish this book. It's a library book. It's due back this weekend. And I really wanted to make sure it was done. So I put emphasis on this. My usual pattern is that I make really good progress on physical books on the weekend. And then during the week, it slows almost to a standstill. But I do make progress on audiobooks during the week. This week has been the opposite, mostly because I really put an emphasis on this. And actually also because I really enjoyed this book a lot. If you're unfamiliar, this is inspired by real life people, including Marie de France, who wrote books, or I don't know if you would call them poems or books of poems back in the 1100s. Little is known about her, so this sort of imagines a life for her in really beautiful ways. So in this book, Marie de France is a sort of bastard child to the throne. She is the product of a rape. The king raped her mother, and she was the product of that. And then she is raised by her mother and her aunts. And then when they are either married off or sent to a convent or die, she ends up on her own for 2 years, and then when she is discovered, her mother's family takes the land from her and sends her to the royal court, where she is not wanted because she is seen as sort of like a hanger-on to the throne. The queen is named Eleanor, and it took me half the book, I think, to realize that this was Eleanor of Aquitaine. Probably shouldn't have taken me that long. Is a little bit jealous. They have this very complicated relationship, and she sends Marie away to sort of get her out of the court, and she decides that it's not suitable to marry Marie off. She needs to get rid of her. So she sends her to be the prioress of an abbey in England. France was controlling England at the time. And when she initially gets there, Marie really wants to work her way back to the royal court. She wants to leave the abbey behind. And when she in the first 56 pages, she sort of accepts her place and that she can't really fight this. So she accepts it and just kind of becomes a girl boss lesbian nun after that. And let me tell you something, I am here for it. This book is also very much about the ways in which women's accomplishments in history have been diminished and in many cases were even erased. There's a sort of parallel between her and Eleanor of Aquitaine. Eleanor is ultimately imprisoned, and imprisoned in a way that's more constricting than what was intended to be Marie's imprisonment in the Abbey. There is also a bit of a parallel between the idea that once she becomes the abbess, Marie is sort of building and accumulating power, almost like a realm for a throne. And I just think there's so much interesting that goes on in this book. It is really well written. Marie is a very vibrant character. A lot of the characters are really vibrant. The descriptions of the characters are really vibrant as well and well done. I'm a big fan. I had never read a Lauren Groff book before. This was my first. I've had a copy of Fates and Furies on my shelf for ages and have not gotten around to it. This is making me wish that I had picked it up because this is just a spectacular book. It's not that long. It's about the same size of a standard book. It is 257 pages. It flies. I think it wouldn't have worked very well that I tried to put a push on this so I could start Young Mungo if it was pretty much any other book. But the fact that this is so compulsively readable, at least for me, really got me through. And I know after I posted about it on Instagram, a lot of people said that they were going to pick it up. I hope they all enjoy it as much as I did. I really loved this book. It is sitting comfortably in my top spot for best read of 2022 so far. Yes, I have already started a notepad on my laptop with best reads of 2022 so far, which, let's talk about that for a second, because I've heard a lot of people, like Doris at Aldi Books was saying that she's had a rough start to the reading year. I have had a really great reading year so far. So the books I've finished in January are Holding by Graham Norton, Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin, Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, How to Resist Amazon and Why by Danny Kane, and Matrix by Lauren Groff. First of all, that's a good number for me to finish in a month. Second, the quality of all of those books is really high. I am really impressed. I've been on a roll, and I know it's going to end at some point. For some reason, I feel like January usually has at least one really good book, but this January, so far, everything has been a hit. And the two books that I have in progress are also books that I am really enjoying. Let's talk about Young Mungo first, because I've already mentioned it several times. So I am a little over 100 pages into Young Mungo at this point. This is another book that is compulsively readable. I didn't get a chance to really read much last night, but I blew through 50 pages the first night that I started it, and then I blew through 50 pages the next night as well. I didn't get a chance to pick it up last night, and I haven't had a chance to read more today, but that first 100 pages just goes really quickly. I do think there are shades of this book that are a little similar to Shuggie Bain, not in a way that feels derivative or like Douglas Stuart is just repeating the success of Shuggie Bain, which it wouldn't really have been the case anyway, because I believe I've heard that he had already finished or was nearly finished with this when Shuggie Bain was released and went on its trek toward winning the Booker Prize. So the setup is similar in that there is a young, sensitive, gay boy in working class Glasgow of the 80s and 90s. In this case, I believe it is the 90s. And his mother is an alcoholic, and he has a very protective relationship of her, and he has sort of complicated relationships with his siblings as a result. That much is similar, but the rest of the circumstances are kind of twisted, and it's a very alternate view on that. And I don't want to talk too much about Young Mungo because I feel like it hasn't been released yet. It will not be released until April. I am reading this on NetGalley. I was lucky enough to finally get approved for a copy of this. I was so jealous of all the advanced copies that I was seeing people get. So I feel very lucky to have a copy on NetGalley. And I'm thinking I'm still going to purchase a copy when it gets released, because this first 100 pages, it has me just as entranced as Shuggie Bain did. I found that to be a compulsively readable book. I know a lot of people struggle with Shuggie Bain because a lot of bad things happen in Shuggie Bain, and There are, so far, Young Mungo is not on that level, but there are difficult things that happen in it. But there's a tenderness to Douglas Stewart's writing that goes underneath everything. And I just find that really fascinating. And I'm really, 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 really excited to get further along in this book. I don't want to talk too much about the rest of the actual plot of the book and the direction that it's going, because I don't want to spoil anything. I will say that the first 100 pages to me are really good. And it's going to be interesting to see where it stacks up with Matrix, which, as I said, seems to be sitting comfortably in the #1 spot for my favorite read of 2022, which shouldn't be competitive because it's only mid-January, except it is really competitive. So we'll see how it stacks up against this. It's just the reading year has gotten off to a really great start, and that holds true for the audio that I'm listening to as well, which is the Love Songs of W.E.B. DuBois by Honorée, Fannone, Jeffers. I had started this in my last Friday Reads video. Now, the thing that suffered because I really have been putting an emphasis on, I was going to say print, but Matrix is in print, and I'm reading Young Mungo on NetGalley, so it's on a tablet. But the audio has suffered because I've been putting such an emphasis on the actual reading that I haven't really been able to make much progress in the Love Songs of W.E.B. DuBois. I will say the first hour had me 1000% entranced, and it did dip a little bit after that. I guess that was only natural. It's a long book. It's like a 30-hour audiobook. So it's probably only natural, but I am very interested in the story. Honorée Fannone Jeffers is an incredible writer. You can tell that she works as a poet. She tells the story in a really beautiful way. I think part of it is also that in one of the sections after the first hour, one of the narrators, there are 3 narrators. She is voicing a child. You meet Ailey Pearl Garfield when she is a child, and the narrator does a child voice. So everything just sounds like this. And that was a little annoying, being honest. But she's grown out of that at the point where I'm at now. And that's a good thing. The writing, it was great. It was just that narrator voice. Narrator voices can throw me off. I don't like when a man does a woman voice when he's reading an audiobook as well. It just throws me off. And when a woman does like an aggressive man voice and just talks like this, it bothers me as well. So I'm really enjoying Love Songs of W.E.B. DuBois as well. I'm still early in it, which is a weird thing to say because I've listened to roughly 2.5 hours of the audiobook, but I've only made it a quarter of the way in. Not even. I haven't even marked it as to read on Storygraph, because I usually wait until I'm about 15% of the way into an audiobook, and I'm not 15% yet. So I'm working on it, but it's going to be a while. This is going to be a slow project that I do on audio. And in the meantime, I'm actually enjoying getting caught up in the print books that I'm reading, because it's usually the opposite. And this feels like a return to form, and I'm here for that. Oh, hi. Editing Greg from the future realized that he forgot to talk about what is coming up next. I'm going to be working on the audio of the Love Songs of W.E.B. DuBois for a while, probably. But in terms of print books, my next book that I'm planning on is Agatha of Little Neon by Claire Luchette. I had gotten this from the library. Still want to read it. I have another week on my loan of this book. So once I finish Young Mungo, hopefully this weekend, I can pivot to this, hopefully finish it during the week. If this thread of me actually finishing print books during the week continues, and then I can dive back into NetGalley. So that's the plan. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. So it's been a good reading week. I've been really enjoying that, and I've been enjoying the Storygraph. I've spent a lot of time setting myself up on that. A lot of people seem to be jumping over because I've been getting a lot of friend requests on Storygraph. I don't know, because somebody said that the link I have to my profile in the description box took them to the login page of Storygraph. It always works for me, but I'm already logged into Storygraph. So hopefully it works. I don't know. But if you do join Storygraph, just supposedly fun, and you can find me. I've enjoyed seeing so many people jumping over to it. I created a reading challenge for myself, just a private one with my Pulitzer Prize project. I've had a lot of fun playing with that this week as well. So again, not much went on in the bookish world, but lots of progress and things to talk about in my reading. So that's been good. And I think I'll leave it at that for this Friday Reads video. And I'd love to hear what you've been up to, what you've been reading, what you've been loving, what you think about any of the things that I've talked about. Please let me know in the comment section down below, and I will be back. Until next time, happy reading.